For staying with us. And now to the discussion at hand, which is tackling challenge of insecurity in north central Nigeria. And I have with me in the studio Emmanuel Ikunle. He is a founder, Elixir Trust Foundation, and a security expert. Many thanks for being with us on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So now let us dive right into the topic we have at hand. What do you think make this North Central state so peculiar that we always have bandit attacks recorded mostly within North Central states?
A country like Nigeria that depends a lot on food. A country like ours that before the advent of oil, or should I say crude oil, was our main source of income was actually agriculture. And when you look at Benue, for example, food basket of the nation, it was not food basket of the state, it's food basket of the nation. It means it was actually, the state was actually providing food for the whole country. So what happens to that type of a state that no longer, or the farmers can no longer produce the food? It means it has limited a lot of persons and made a lot of persons jobless. It has made a lot of persons homeless. It has made a lot of persons to be taken, to be abused, either used as sex slave or slave workers on other people's land for them to earn a living. It has displaced a lot of persons. And when all this happened in a state, coupled with the fact in an area where there's no employment of young persons. Every year, new persons keep graduating and there's no sector available to actually employ these persons. You still have the same government not even paying those that are even working. You still have a situation where even the little persons that are even producing, those products are not even, those farmers are not even being supported. For example, still Benue State. Every year we have a lot of oranges being wasted. Absence of factory to even work on it to be converted to juice or other things. You have tomatoes wasting every year. You have fruits like mangoes wasting every year in millions all over the state. Then it brings you to yam and other things also that after some time it also, because the government is not looking at security, most of the issues we are looking at, we are only looking at short-term results. We are not looking at long-term. Can there be factories that can preserve this food that can be used tomorrow? If there are factories, it means more employment. If the state is safe enough for farmers to go to the field, people may not be lazy enough to be recruited to fight or cause trouble in one place or the other. If you look at 10, 20 years back, yes, they have always been fighting, but it was not as serious or severe as now, because most of the persons are free at home. When you are lazy, or not lazy, but when you don't have anything doing, you'll be available for certain discussions that if you were busy, you won't even be there in the first place.
Like an idle land is the devil's workshop.
Yes. And coupled with the fact that the government, series of governments that have passed over the years, the last administration, Buhari administration, they were not also helpful, because they actually, a lot of criminals or people that they knew were criminals were not being brought to book. So when you have certain persons living in such areas and know that, okay, I can do this and nothing will happen, other persons too be like, oh, this can be a new trend. I can also join this and make a living. So people that naturally would have gone into farming, or people naturally that maybe could have been good carpenters, will now invest their usefulness in armed robbery. Because even if I'm caught, if I can pay my way out, if the highest of all, the so-called elites, are criminals and are being recognized and awarded and given positions, then why should I stress myself working with my hands when I can just steal the money?
Very well, but in Benue State, the image that is being painted by the media to Nigerians is always this farmer-elder clash. Are you trying to say that there is actually way more to it than the farmer-elder clash?
Yeah, there are several reasons to it. But the first one, the farmer-elder clash, is like the primary one. And this has been the situation as long as Nigeria. The North Central is so blessed with vegetation that at all seasons or during all seasons, it's always green in those areas, particularly Benue State. So other states in the north, there are certain times, maybe dry season, there may not be green grass for the pastoralist, for their cattle and all that. But in Benue State, the grass is always green. So certainly you wish to have that for your cattle. And these lands that they have this green grass on it, it belongs to people. It's not government land. It's, yes, there are places where they are not being cultivated, that these herders can actually go and graze. But the issue that have been over the years is they end up finding their way into people's farm. Don't forget that this is a source of livelihood for people. When I make my farm and you bring your cattle into my farm to destroy my products, I won't be happy with you. This is just a normal thing. You are in your house, somebody breaks into your house and is damaging things. You won't just stay and look, because that is your source of livelihood. If that happens, how will you get another source of income? And as we know, even those that work for the government are not even being paid, particularly Benue State. The last government was not paying salaries. Otum was not paying salaries. So talk more, people that are not working for the government are investing their talent in the farm. So if your crops are being destroyed, where are you going to get food to eat, or the means or income to feed? That is even on one side. Then coupled with the fact that we have security agencies, be it the military, be it the police, that are in the state. I believe for a long time in that state, they have been so docile and not to be interested in certain things. I say this without favor or without picking any offense directly to anybody, because this has been happening for long. There are a lot of cases where you know police can do something and they don't. I was privileged to work in both flood and conflict emergencies in Benue, and I was privileged to also be allocate rooms to IDPs when they attacked in 2018 in Benue, and we actually allocated them rooms in Gomadaudu shelter. People that were displaced were being attacked, not just by herders, but with people fully armed, not even with cattle that you call them even herders. This means this was planned. It's more than just meet the eye. A lot of persons try to cook it to look like just farmer, but it's an agenda. It's not just about herders. Because these people come and attack you when you run away. They actually settle in your houses. And they will be around. And even at times where military came around, these persons were still in those places. Military didn't go there to drive them away to those lands, for the lands to be available for the rightful owners. They will just come around and say, okay, the people have gone. And then they will still leave that place. Immediately they are leaving, those people come back and occupy those places. That is why till date, there are still IDPs in the camp, till date. What is preventing them from going back to their rightful places? They are still in camp, and a lot of them are dying daily. A lot of them are being raped daily. A lot of them are actually selling themselves to be able to feed right. You know, these things are happening till date. So I know during those times that we located them rooms in the shelter, just few days afterwards, some Fulani herdsmen also came and camped beside the camp.
Which means they were also displaced?
No. You came and displaced people from their places of living. They ran to the camp, the temporary shelter that we made for them. Because the former place where I was working actually built the shelter with the support of UNHCR. So it built the shelter that we brought to these persons that were displaced to come and stay there. Then you left those places where you displaced them to come and camp, bring your cattle and come and stay beside them. The stream that they were using as the water that they were using for washing and cooking and all that, they will use their cattle to actually walk inside. And then they will still camp beside them and warn them and all those things. We had to have a meeting. We had a meeting with the local chiefs there, and the local chief father and I think Meitala, the representative, I think then it was Ibrahim. We had a meeting that they should go and talk to these persons. You cannot displace somebody and still come and camp beside the person. So he spoke to them, and then within 1 week, they left the place. But those locations where these persons have lived over the years, they cannot go back. And these people, 3/4 of, should I say 90% of them, what the work they do is farming. Outside farming, they are not good with any other thing. So what happens? They will beg to sustain their lives. There are a lot of trainings. You come and train them, but what they are good at is farming. And don't forget that they are farming not just for themselves. What they are farming feeds not just the state, but feeds other locations. Because always, if you go to the parks in Benue, you keep seeing that foods are being transported. Even though a lot of persons are scared, 3/4 of persons are scared to go into the farm, they are still moving these products still to different states to actually still support, still provide food in those locations. So this is a serious situation where the military and the police have been just relaxed.
Okay, do you feel like the president's directive that they should fish out the perpetrators of this crime, do you feel this might be a wake-up call for all the security agencies to actually do the needful?
We have always been hearing about the security agency should do something about. We have been hearing that since 2018. After they attacked in 2018, Metella came out and said they were responsible. Nobody was held to account. So as long as you cannot punish criminals or discipline criminals for the wrongs they are doing, then whatever you say, it's like lip service. It offers no consolation, offers no results. And that is the situation till date. As long as they are not punishing people, we are only wasting ourselves. April this year, I think leadership of Tiv, Igede, and Idoma also appealed to the president. It's not about lip service. We have one of the most capable battalions. We have 72 battalion in Benue State, among the first in the country. They can, if they want, to address these issues of insecurity in the state. It's just that they don't want to. And part of this, that is why I always say that the government has a hand in this. A former head of state, General Bacha, will say once an insecurity lasts more than 24 to 48 hours, it means the government has a hand in it. And it has been the situation till date. A lot of persons are benefiting from these insecurities. So the whole budget of the country, we keep hearing 500 billion, about billions being allocated to the military. What have they been doing? What are the results? So if the president wants to actually do something about it, the first thing is, can we clear all those places where these criminals that displaced these people are staying? Clear all those criminals and let the IDPs return. The last administration promised about 10 billion to get maybe those persons fix their houses that were being burnt, health institutions that were being burnt down. Because if you want a return or reintegration, there should be certain amenities that are supposed to be provided. Water, hospitals, or things that were there before that were spoiled or damaged. This has not been done. You just come and tell people, oh, the security issues have been rectified, go back. And then the first few ones that go back, they'll be murdered. You come back and bury. There have been mass burials in the state over the years. Who has been punished? And still date, recently they murdered about 24 persons. They were attacked in Goma. They were attacked in also, I think, Ojo, in Zone C. These persons come through where? They are stations in almost all the entry points in the states, right? And if we have military in the state, we have police in the state, we have civil defense, we have other people that are in the state, and these people will come and kill people and go back, then where are actually you? Where are all the security agencies? You have more than 10 checkpoints just within an interval of what? One kilometer. You have up to how many? Once you travel along the states in the night, you have more than 10 checkpoints, and all of them, what they are good at is extortion. Collecting bribes on the road. But the main work of, primary work of protection of lives, they have relegated that to the back. And the federal government over the years have not been serious. They will just talk. They are not interested in whatever is happening to the state. So if they are interested, the Meitala that came out publicly that they have done this, the leadership should be arrested. And then all the criminals or so-called persons, be it traditional leaders that are being involved in any way in causing these issues in the state, they should be held to account. As long as you don't punish people, we're only wasting our time. That's just the situation.
Okay, but this is a new government. Would you say that perhaps there's still hope somewhere very soon that things might change? Because most of the things you've mentioned, the fault seems to be coming from the previous government, and perhaps where they slacked off, where they did not tighten some ropes, that is why we are having this problem. But with this new government, both for the state government and federal government, we have new faces there. What are your thoughts?
The new governor in Benue State, Mr. or should I say Reverend Father Alia, Hyacinth Alia. It's good he came on board because a lot of persons voted him because of what a former governor, also a Reverend Father Dasu did for the state, and we believe that he can also be able to replicate, same thing to the state. And that is why he was able to also visit the location to see what has happened. But just like I said, the former governor was very good on media. He spoke a lot on media. What we need is not media. Before even independence, there were ways in which communities address issues of insecurity. I've constantly said this. And as long as we don't want to take into cognizance this way or traditional ways of doing things at that level, we'll keep having issues of insecurity. Security is not just the government or security agencies' role. It's the duty of every citizen. As long as we are indigenous or citizens of a particular country or state or community, you have a responsibility or you have a role to play in addressing this crisis situation in your area. So in all these areas, there are ways. The communities, we have people, families generally choose one person, or in each community you have people that are like the security of that place. Outside the police, the military and all these persons, each community have those persons. And before now, we still have things, we have security outfits like vigilante and the rest, where if certain persons that patrol in the night, all this while we have been having police and having, but these persons were also there. They patrol in the night because they know these persons, they know, okay, this is not your house. If they see you in a particular place, because they are from the community, they know everybody that lives in the community. So if they see any intruder, they'll know this is not your community, so what are you doing here at this time? And if you cannot explain it, they arrest you in the night, keep you till morning and hand you over to the police. So the police at their level too, they are not just supposed to just hold you and free you to go. They are supposed to investigate what has happened, what were you doing there at that ungodly hour. But these days, I don't know, many communities no vigilante, or many of these persons are all turned now to be tax collecting outfits, collecting funds. But if at the level of communities, and chiefs are also not responsible, accountable to their people, that is why it's so easy for people to come from anywhere, bribe their way into any community and cause mayhem. So if the chiefs can work with the young people in the community and form a security, even if the police don't want to do the right thing, they will stand on the right thing to be done. And where a DPO in a particular division or a particular commissioner of police in your state is failing to carry out his mandate of policing the community, then you guys should speak out for that particular CP to be replaced. Because everybody just relax. Every CP comes to any state and does what, and is quiet, does nothing. We are tired of this talk on the media. Send your men to be there for them to work. And the federal government, so in a lot of in developed climes, we have tech. A lot of them use tech now. It's not every day you see police patrolling left, right, center. You place it at strategic places. That means if there's a crime in a particular place, people in the office communicate. There are standby vehicles already on ground to address this. Once you are being notified, you go ahead. Instead of having millions of police stationed at the station, doing nothing except carrying out raids in the night and extorting people. If you cannot give something and then you are detained. That's another insecurity now, even still in the state like Benue State. In the night, police just move out in the night, raid, carry people, and then take them to state CID, and then you pay some money, then you are free. If you don't pay, they keep you there. This has been happening, and when people don't have faith in you, it's a very big problem because they cannot run to you when they are facing problem. Still in this state, another issue that I want to also bring is issues of people being able to buy police or pay for police to do whatever they want. Recently, a young in Boko, in one of the local governments in the state, 2 young men were arrested. Because why? Their neighbor, there's a well-to-do man, went and reported to the police, and they came and picked these guys. They didn't investigate anything, so that means you are arresting before investigating. Meanwhile, you're supposed to investigate before arresting. They arrested these 2 guys and took them to their station, and then kept them there. You arrested them without arrest warrant, right? Then you took them back to their house without a search warrant. You searched their house. You didn't get any of the items that they claim were stolen. You took them back, you detained them for about 10 days. This is against the Administration of Criminal Justice Act. It's against the Police Act. Within 48 hours, you are supposed to inform, the parents or the next of kin that this is the offense this person has committed. There was nothing like that. You arrested this person and kept until when I called the state PRO to ask. By then, they have moved the family to Benue State. And all this while that they were moving these people, they never gave full information to their next of kin or their families. Because they don't have money, they moved them till now. They have detained them in Benue.
That is quite sad. Well, unfortunately, we have to draw the curtain onto this episode once more. It's always quite sad to leave you, especially when the conversation is just so interesting. Many thanks for sharing your views with us on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that is Emmanuel Inkule. He is the founder, Elixir Trust Foundation, and security expert. And this is where we're officially drawing the curtain on today's episode of Firecrackers. My name is Iriba Misalako. Many thanks for staying with us. See you same time, same station next week. Do have a wonderful week ahead. Goodbye.